Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue to read the Iliad by Homer. I'm going to continue to read. He left them there for dead, and just at the point where most battalions scattered, Agamemnon charged. The rest of his troops in armor quickly behind him now, infantry killing infantry, fleeing headlong, hard pressed, drivers killing drivers, under the onrush dust in the whirlwinds, driven up from the plain, hoofs of stallion, rumbling thunder, bronze flashing, immense slaughter, and always King Agamemnon whirling to kill, crying his argives on, breaking neck on, life devouring fire, rolling down onto dry dead timber, squirrels hurling it on, careening left and right, and brush ripped up by the roots, goes rumbling under, crushed by the blasting fire rampaging on. So under Atrides, onslaught, Trojans dropped in flight. Stampedes of massive stallions dragged their empty chariots, clatting down the passageways of battle, stallions yearning to feel their master's hand at the reins, but there they lay, sprawled across the field, craved far more by the watcher than by wives. But Zeus drew Hector out of range of the weapons, out of dust storm, out of the mounting skills. The blood and the wrath of war as Atrides followed hard, shouting his argives on, furious, never stopping. The Trojans streaked in flight, past Iliad's barrow, ancient son of Dardanus, past the midfield mark of the plain, and past the wild fig, and struggling to reach Troy, and always in hot pursuit and shrieking. Agamemnon splattered with gore, his hands, invincible hands, but once they reached the Shrine gates and the great oak, there the two sides halted, waiting each other's charge, yet stragglers still stampeded down the plain like a cattle driven wild by a lion longing in pitch darkness down on the whole herd, but no one alone. A sudden death comes flashing. First he snapped his neck, clammed in his huge jaw, and then down in gulps he bolts his blood and guts. So King Agamemnon causes his quarry, always cutting the strangling from the mass, and they fled in terror, squad amok, spilling out of their chariots, face first, or slammed on their backs beneath Atrides' hand, storming and thrusting, his spear and longing on. But just as he was about to reach the steep city, up under the walls, the father of man and the gods, descending out of the heavens, took his throne on the high ridge of Ida with all her springs. Holding fast in his grip a lightning bolt, he drove his Iris down in a rush of golden wings to bear his message. Away with you now, Iris, quick as the wind, and speed this word to Hector. So long as he sees Lord Marshal Agamemnon storming among the champions, mowing columns down in blood, Hector must hold back, command the rest of his men to fight the enemy, stand there, headlong charge. But soon as a spear or bow shot wounds the king, and Atrides mounts his chariots once again, then I will hand Hector the power to kill, and kill till he cuts his way to the benched ships, and the sun sinks, and the blessed darkness sweeps across the earth. So he commanded. Wind-quick Iris obeyed at once, and down from Ida's peaks she drove to sacred Troy, found the son of wise King Priam, shining Hector, standing at midst his team and bolted cars, and swift as a breeze beside him Iris called, Hector, son of Priam, a mastermind like Zeus. The father had sped me down to tell you this. So long as you see Lord Marshal Agamemnon storming among the champions, mowing columns down in blood, you must hold back. Command the rest of your men to fight the enemy. Stand there, headlong charge, but soon as a spear or bowshot wounds the king, and Atreus mounts his chariots once again. Then Zeus will hand you the power to kill, and kill till you cut your way to the benched ships, and the sun sinks, and the blessed darkness sweeps across the earth. And Ares, racing the wind, went veering off. Hector leaped to ground from his chariot, fully armed, and brandishing 2 sharp spears, went striding down his lines, ranging flank to flank, driving his fighters into battle, rose in grisly war, and round the Trojans whirled, bracing to meet the Argives face to face. But against their mass, the Argives closed the ranks, and fighting about to break. The troops scoring off, and Atreus tends to out-fighting them all, charged the first. Sing to me now, you Muses, who hold the house of Olympus, who was the first to go up against King Agamemnon? Who of Trojan or famous Trojan allies? Iphidamus, the rough and rangy son of Antenor, bred in the fertile land of Thrace, mother of flocks. Theseus reared him at home when he was little. His mother's father, who seared the fine beauty Athena, but once he hit the stride of his youth and ached for fame, Theseus tried to hold him back, gave him a daughter's hand, but the worm from the bridal chamber marched the groom, fired up by word that Achaea's troops had landed. 12 big ships sailed out in his command. Train vessels he left behind him in Percote, making his way to Troy to fight on foot, and here he came now, up against Agamemnon. Closer, closing, Atreus hurled and missed, his spear shaft just slanting aside the man's flank as Iphidamus went for the waist beneath the breastplate. He stepped home, leaning into the blow full weight, trusting his heavy hand, but failed to pierce the glittering belt, failed flat out the point, smashing against the silver, bent back like lead, and seized the spear shaft. Powerful Agamemnon dragged it toward him, tussled like some lion, and wrenched it from Iphidamus' slack grasp. He hacked his neck with a sword and loosed his limbs, and there he dropped and slept the sleep of bronze. Poor soldier, striving to help his fellow Trojans, far from his wedded wife, his new bride. No joy had he known from her for all his gifts. The 400 oxen he gave her on the spot, then promised 1,000 head of goats and ship from the boundless herds he'd rounded up himself. Now the son of Atreus stripped him, robed his corpse, and strode back to his waiting Argive armies, hoisting the gleaming gear. I'm going to stop here today and continue next time. Thank you for watching.